his wife assisting Yvonne, and Yvonne was also part of this show. Vincent is now my colleague at SOTA. I asked him many times about it. He doesn't remember. So there isn't any documentation left from the particular day I looked at. Okay. Over here, this is one of the most interesting discoveries and finds. So 25th, 26th, 27th, this is the 28th of December, where they did an experimental theatre workshop. And what happened was that there was a performer that came in and did this piece that crossed the boundary, or kind of was challenging what is theatre and what is performance. And after that, they had a very vicious open critique. It's the most well-documented performance in the entire event. Ray documented the entire hour of the performer, including the critique at the end, when he was severely being criticized and there was a lot of heated discussion. The performer's name is Khairuddin Hori. Anybody knows his name? Khairuddin Hori is now a curator with the Singapore Art Museum. Yeah. He was part of one of the 27 in the Singapore Biennale. Yeah. So if you're interested, you can definitely go and Google him. But this was him when he was still very much involved in theatre and performance. So to see him perform was also quite amazing for me. Then after that, there's this day. This day is the 29th, correct? Yeah. The 29th of December is when this incident or this newspaper happened. Okay, this article happened. So as part of this event, there was music performances, there was video art festivals, and Ray curated an entire series of video pieces to be screened as part of the event. And of course, even at that time, they had to submit it to the Board of Film Censors for rating. The mechanism of censorship was a little bit more ambivalent at that time. If they didn't like the video that you submitted or certain content in it, you have two options. They will erase the tape, or they will send it overseas to an address of your choice. Yeah, you can pick within the two. Of course, the third one is destroy the tape. Yeah? So Ray chose to have the tape erased. So some of the videos, of all the videos he submitted, 3 were somewhat completely erased. One of which was Marlon Riggs' Tang San Tai. The name should be familiar for those people who are interested in queer studies. So Marlon Riggs was a spoken word artist that made this video around 1989. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's about gay African Americans speaking up and speaking out against how I'm okay and I'm proud to be gay and black. Okay, and the entire video was done in that style. And they basically erased the entire 50 minutes except for the credits. So the credits survived. One frame of the credits survived. So Ray, of course, you can sense a little bit of anger in his response. What he did was that he decided to screen the video in its entirety. White snow, censored, blank. And they had performances in front of it on this particular evening in response to the censored videos. So Joseph Ng did probably his second or third performance. What he did was that he dressed in white and he was brushing his teeth. And Lee Wen did a piece, and it was amazing to see how consistent Lee Wen's has always been. He was playing the guitar and he was singing. Yeah. And this was the video that also got NC-16 if I'm not wrong, because of coarse language. Yeah. So all these videos that I showed here also have to be separated. Okay. So the first two were rated PG, this one is NC-16, that one is PG, and the last one is NC-16. Brother Kane is rated NC-16 in 2013. Okay. For your information. Okay. And this particular evening is the 30th of December, and this was an art forum. The people on the art forum at that time, Weng Choi, Lee Weng Choi, Susie Lingham, brother Joseph McNally, and it's the first time I'm looking at the image of brother Joseph McNally speaking, and you can too, it's very articulate. And there's Loh Eng Kiong, Ng Eng Keng from Artist Village, and Ray Langenbach. The art forum topic is strangely prophetic in a way. Are there alternative art practices in Singapore, or do the alternatives hanker to be in the mainstream? The art forum itself was chaired by Philip J. Ratnam, who subsequently became the lawyer that defended Iris Tan in court. So he was invested in the event from the very beginning. Yeah. So you can hear, and one of the gems from this particular discovery is Weng Choi's speech. So the documents, if you haven't realized, the documents surrounding the TV relate to the TV itself. Weng Choi starts off his speech by saying, "I'm grateful for being invited here to participate. Part of my gratitude stems from a self-consciousness that I am, certainly in this case, an incompetent speaker. I have not been in Singapore all that long. I'm not an artist. I have no formal training in art theory or art history. I haven't read enough about the local art scene, and I don't know enough artists and haven't seen enough local art." So this was Lee Weng Choi in 1994. And of course, if you follow his trajectory and you know Weng Choi today, he's basically the art critic of Singapore. And this, for me, was a find or gem because it really tracks the first time he got himself involved in the contemporary art scene in Singapore to be starting out his speech with that particular statement. Yeah. And of course, we have raised index cards over here. And finally, on the last evening, we have a series of performances which actually includes Suzanne Richter, Suzy Lingham, Amanda Heng. And one of these performances on that evening is a 15-minute performance by Josephine called Brother King. Okay, and you can see the breakdown of the performances here. Who else performed on the same evening? What happened before, what happened after. And of course, before they actually performed, there was a local band, Stomping Ground. So Suhaimi is actually in this particular video, and Suhaimi's stuff is located on the opposite side of this wall. You can see Amanda Heng, whose name is not officially on the program. She just came back to Singapore, I believe so. And she was doing this piece called She He. I'm sure you have seen it if you visited her exhibition at Singapore Art Museum, her solo show, where she rolls around in a chair and she speaks in Chinese and says ta, 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 or the 女字旁 and the 人字旁difference between she and he. So those are the TVs. It's a lot of things. Any questions? It's better for me to respond to questions than I just go on.
Why didn't Ray make copies of the tapes before sending them for censorship?
I don't know, that's a very good question. I'm sure it wasn't frustration in the fact that he lost the tape. It was not. Because he has contacts. He would be able to get a copy of the tape again if he wanted to. But it's more the audacious fact that they just erased it. And remember, this is Ray, who has been in Singapore not too long. So he's encountering the bureaucracy and the censorship system perhaps for the first time. So not very experienced. And when this particular thing happened, he decided to provide a response. So I don't think it's out of anger that he lost Marlon Riggs forever. It's more responding to the fact that they censor it and how we can use it in a creative way, or how we can interpret their censorship in a creative way.
So it's an opportunity to showcase.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was Ray's own performance?
Ray did this performance monologue called Jump Cut. And he was looking for the monologue, and I think he recently found it, but I haven't got it from him yet. Yeah, but that was the performance he did. But memory and history always, and there were so many events, it was a blur. It was 24 hours of constant art happening in the same venue. I look at the video sometimes and I'm trying to decipher which evening is it, what happened at what time. And for people who don't even have the video memory, don't have the video as reference and relying on memory, I'm not sure whether Ray has confused his performance with his play read, with his forum, with his,
Do you know what his performance was about?
Not exactly sure. Yeah. I have photo documentation of it, or I've seen photo documentation. Any other questions?
What's the significance of using these old TVs instead of LED TVs?
I'm using the vernacular of Ray. So this was how he displayed the TV in the Video Art Festival. One of these old OHP cards, and he places the TV on top in a corner of the room like that. Yeah. So that was the vernacular of how he displayed it, and I wanted to quote that vernacular. Similarly with the chairs, if you haven't realized, okay, these were the type of chairs that they used for the event at Parkway Parade itself. Yeah. And if you can see peppered across this space, there are contemporary photographs. I did a site recce earlier this year, and the space is still around. You are free to welcome to go and visit it on your own time. Unfortunately, I don't think I can conduct group tours, even though it might be interesting. Yeah. But the space is still around. It has changed somewhat, but the format and the infrastructure and the layout is still quite similar. And because Fifth Passage as a space is such a unique space, it really helps to go and visit the space in order to visualize what happened. What I did was that I measured the space and I plotted an AutoCAD map of it. Every single TV has a map beside it that will record the layout in the video itself. Yeah. So Joseph actually performed in the outdoor, somewhat semi-outdoor. It's not public. It's a place that was cordoned off, closed. You have to buy tickets to enter it, but the top is like an atrium. So in photographs, it looks like he's performing in the middle of a car park, but he's not. It's just an outdoor space, okay? And the forums and the TVs and everything is held in the passageway between the lift lobby and the atrium space. Okay? And of course, you have a lift lobby, and the space is used as a transitional passageway now. Which brings us to the question of why the cupboards, right? I'm sure you are asking what the cupboards for. Basically, for AGA, as an event itself, they wanted to invite 25 artists to do installations. But remember, the space is a passageway. During the daytime, people will walk in, walk out. How do you keep an artwork secure? So what they did was that they devised, okay, we're going to build 27 little cupboards. And during the day, we're going to chain them up and lock them up. The artists can do an installation inside. That's their free space, their canvas. They can do whatever they want. And during the day, we chain them up. At night, during the event, we open them up for the performance. So these cupboards, if you come and see, they are 6 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. When Susie came for the opening, she saw this and she said, yeah, this is the coffin. Yeah. So I wanted to really build one. This is a replica, it's not the original, of course. I wanted to build one just to give you a frame of reference, what this size of the object is. And you can see it's often used in the performances itself. They started responding. The music bands, they decided to respond to it, bring and carry the coffin on stage and perform with it. You can see the performance improvisation. They basically, apparently from some accounts, they carried this box as part of the opening performance from Orchard to Parkway. I'm not sure. That's what they say, okay? But I'm not sure. Yeah, but you can see them carrying it in and using it as part of the improvisation. So these cupboards became the motif for the entire event. Yeah. It's a lot of information. Any other questions? How are we doing on time? What's the time now? 3. Okay, maybe I should stop soon. But before I end, I'll just like to touch a little bit on this wall. So for the purposes of this particular exhibition, I decided to pull out most of the media coverage. And this wall is basically the media, and I wanted to see how they shaped and structured the conversation around this performance. Okay? In the Chinese tabloids, they start off the first day by saying, in now, which is a more clinical term for pubic hair. Okay? And they insist they insist on calling Joseph Ng 兼职演员, part-time actor. Yeah. Okay? As it evolves, you can hear and notice that the heading, the 标题, the heading from 阴毛 becomes 齿毛, 齿 as in 羞耻, as in shame. Yeah. So hair of shame. From a clinical term into a loaded term. It's just a very simple change in the character, but you can see how they were framing and shaping the argument. And that's just one particular instance. You see